Designing for services. And what I'm going to show you is mainly based on what's happening in the UK. I told you already, answer your question, because in the UK, I guess for political reasons, service design was a major point of the government. The government in the UK made a serious point of providing services for all the people in the UK. And they did a lot of analyzing, a lot of designing, and then evaluating again. And they published it. So if you would go to the internet and you look at service design, you will find mainly UK sources, and if you go to the UK sources, you find a lot of interesting stuff. And the good news is that all of us at least understand a little bit of English. So if it would have been Italy, it would be good for you, but not for you and not for me. Because we wouldn't be able to read it, right? And the UK stuff, all of us can read it. But it's, I think, just some kind of a political background, and I don't know that. So most of this now is what I found in UK surveys. So you could say, how much part of the services is really design? How much effort is spent on designing the service? And now if you look at what type of services we are talking about, it's interesting. So this column, this is services provided by manufacturers. So this is services in manufacturing. So let me say car companies. Car companies build in services and provide services, right? And then we have the banking, financial business services. And here we have the consumer services. And like newspapers and stuff like that. And now if you look at how much of these services are designed. You can see with the manufacturers, for instance the car companies, you can see that a lot of designing of services is part of the company's core operation. Service design is a big part of the efforts in the company. Now, if you look at the consumer services, like newspapers and transport facilities and medical facilities, how much of the services are, how much of the design is part of the type of trade? And you see that only 6% is really central. And 37% say, no, this doesn't play a role in my type of business. Services, we do design it, even though in fact they provide it. So you can see there's something strange here. In a way you could say car companies spend much more official effort and time designing the services than like the health system or the press. Yeah? They don't so much design services. Interesting. So there's still some work to be done by you, I guess. What's this one? So, and this is, well, it's in a way the same story. This is the role of designers in the branch. So, the role of designers in the manufacturer, the design team is leading. In the Netherlands we have a very large electronica group which is called Philips. I think you all know Philips. And Philips design is a major part of Philips. And Philips design means that each team focuses on design. So there's ergonomists, there's psychologists, there's hardware engineers, software engineers, there's even visual design people, part of the design team. But in the consumer services, it's very rare to have a designer as a core member of the team. And in many cases, they are not included at all. It's in a way the same picture as the previous one. So, service design. This is what we are going to do. So what does it mean? It's planning and organizing planning and organizing people. Service design is about arranging people to do things. It's planning and organizing infrastructure, like who is talking to who, and who can see what somebody else is doing. It's about communication. How do we talk? Are we talking? Are we using email? Are we having meetings? And obviously there's also material components of services. I mean, bus companies still work with paper bus tickets sometimes. Right? And if you park, some types of parking you get a sheet of paper to put in your car in some locations. Other locations you make a note with your telephone and then your parking is guaranteed and the parking police can find out whether you pay or not. So, but there might be material components involved. In order to improve what? Quality, the quality of the service. But also to improve the interaction between the service provider and the customers. Because the customers might want to ask a question, might want to complain, might want to suggest. Right? And in the end, to improve the customer's experience. So this is, does the customer really like the service? So are people smiling because of the service, you could say? Or are they in fact not happy at all? They have to use, they would like to do it the old way, but the old way is no longer accepted. I am not allowed to enter a bank to get money, I have to go to a machine, right? So improve quality and interaction and experience. Okay, so you can say this is an ideal definition of service design. It doesn't tell you this is what services are, this is how you would design services the right way. So designing services from the point of view of the users, of the human beings that are meeting the service, using the service. Okay? Yeah. Another definition. Designing experiences. So now we are really focusing on how people experience the service. That reach people through many different touch points. And by the way, services are not a thing that happens at a second. Having a bus pass, if you are living in Sassari and taking your classes in Alghero, you might want to go by bus from Sassari to Alghero 5 times a week, right? So this is an ongoing thing. You buy your pass in September and it runs up till June, maybe, right? So it's, which means that you have to find out how it works, and you get something. Now I give you here an example. So instructions, schedules, maybe if you buy a pass for the bus from Sassari to here, you get a timetable. Is that true? Yeah? Makes sense, it's part of the service. So if the first class is skipped for a day, you look at the timetable to see which bus to take today, because it's different from other times, right? So the timetable is part of it. And then it's the artifact itself, it's the service itself. Now, I gave an example and I found out, because I gave the same example last year, that a driver's license is not an obvious thing in Sardinia, at Sardinia. You know what the driver's license is? No. Yeah, maybe you should explain, because some people don't know. I found out last year that in my country, I'm only allowed to drive a car in the street, so not on my own farm, but in the street, if I have a permit. And in the Netherlands, in order to get a driver's license, you have to be 18 or over. Mm-hmm. You need a medical check. You need a test about your driving. Mm-hmm. And you need a test about the theory of traffic. So what does this sign mean? And if there's a red light, can I stop or should I move? And things like that. So a driver's license is something I need to drive a car. Actually, in the Netherlands, a driver's license is a plastic card and I need to have it with me. If the police would stop me and I have no driver's license with me, and if I'm still nice to the police and polite, they tell me, tomorrow you come to the police station and show your driver's license. If not, you get a fine.
It's the same.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, now we know the concept, right? So, how to get a driver's license in Italy? Buying. In the southern part, maybe. So, can somebody explain how you get a driver's license in Italy? Or in Spain?
In Spain, I think it's the same that in Netherlands. You have to make a course, and you have a theory exam, and after that you have like practice, and then you have an exam with the car. And if you pass, you get the driver license. If not, you have to present the exam again.
Okay. And how many times do you take an exam on average before you get passed?
I don't know. Maybe the theory in 1 month you can pass the exam, but the practice exam is not so easy. Maybe 3 times or 4.
I failed 3 times, and the 4th time I got my license. So, Italy the same way? Yeah? And you find out that there's a lot of things related to getting a driver's license. So, as she told, in Spain, I guess in Italy, you take lessons. True? We have schools, driving schools in the Netherlands. And they have a big L from lecture, you could say, on the car. So if there's a car on the road that's behaving not very sophisticated, it has an L. Okay, we know. It's a student, right? So you get lessons, normally once a week. You pay for lessons. Normally you pay for 10 lessons, and after 10 lessons your instructor says you need another 10, and you pay again, and you get another 10 lessons, right? Services. And then after 3 or 4 times 10 lessons, and also a lesson where you are talking about the traffic signs and the theory, the instructor negotiates with you and he requests an exam. Do you have to pay in Italy for the exam?
Yeah. Yes.
In the Netherlands it's like 600 euros, I think. It's a considerable amount of money. So you pay for the exam, you get the date, you go there, and then there's an examiner who enters the car that you have been training in the Netherlands. So your exam is in the car you know. Also in Italy?
Yes.
In Spain? And then you are driving for like half an hour, and if you are so lucky and nobody is crossing the street unexpectedly, you might actually pass, right? And then after a couple of weeks you get in the mail your license, and I guess you have to submit your photograph first. But I forgot, it's too long ago for me.
I give it at the beginning of the class.
In the beginning of the class. Okay. So you see, there's a lot of organization. It's a schedule of lessons. Each Thursday night from 7 to 8 I have a driving lesson, right? So things like that. And you have to take a day off for the exam. Lots of organization. And this is all in preparation of you being allowed to drive a car in the streets, right?